welcome back to Armchair Armory, and this is for the last time this season. 23-24 season is done and dusted. We are here. As you can see by the club photo behind me, I'm blocking out Mikel Arteta. That's the sign that I'm doing the season review. And then it will be a break for a while, or a break for about 2-3 weeks or something, football related. I haven't fully decided whether I'm going to do something around the Euros yet, like I did for the World Cup, the Men's World Cup in 2022. Haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do that or not. Something, how can I put this? Yes, something in my personal life has just sort of taken off, so I might be quite busy around that time. I probably won't be busy enough to watch the England games, but I don't know if I'll be able to come and record stuff. It might just be EAFC Sims if there's a Euro 2024 mode, or wherever there's a Euro 2024 mode, which I'm assuming is going to be EAFC because they've got the license to UEFA competitions. So yeah, we shall see. 23-24 season is done and dusted. We are here after the night before Manchester United defeat Manchester City 2-1 in the FA Cup final. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying now, Man United fans in particular, saying that they've had a better season than us. I'll tell you something. Congratulations to Man United. In a way, even though, when I grew up in a fierce rivalry of Manchester United fans, even now it's other than Spurs and maybe Chelsea, it's one of those and now City, it's one of those teams that I always want to beat, no matter what. And it's huge when we do beat them. But I wanted them to win just because I'm sick and tired of, I know there's been a lot of people in this space and in the sort of like mainstream sports media world saying that they're just bored of City winning everything, and I would definitely agree with that. Like, I'm just sick and tired of every season, every tournament is won by City, or most of the domestic tournaments are won by City. So thank you, Manchester United, for stopping yet another FA Cup and League double for Manchester City. To be honest with you, even though I think from the start of the season it was very probable that City were going to win the league, I did think that this wouldn't be the same as last season. I thought last season they were outstanding footballing wise, but this season they haven't been as on top of their game as they usually are. They only seem to pick it up towards the end of the season. As soon as we sort of gave them, as soon as the olive branch was handed out, when we lost to Villa, that was sort of when they started picking up. And I think from January they hadn't lost a game, or December, I can't remember, but they hadn't lost a game. And when you win 14 games in a row, obviously you're probably going to go on to win, and the teams around you are dropping points, i.e. us and Liverpool, you're obviously going to go on to win the league. So in my opinion, it's not, but I did feel that they weren't going to repeat it again. I know that there's people on Sky and on TNT in this country saying, oh yeah, they can do it again and all this sort of stuff. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought the most that they were going to do is win the league and maybe the Champions League, I thought. But I always feel it's harder to do that. That's why no other team's done it. No other team has done 2 trebles in a row in England anyway. In the Premier League era, let's say. But yeah, it was nice to see Man City not win something for once. But I will say this before I go in. I'm spending the first 5 minutes talking about Man United, but still, it reminded me of our season. That first half, that second half of the season where Arteta came in, and it reminds me of that, where we'd already had a poor run of form under Unai Emery in the first half of the season. We didn't really pick up that much in the league afterwards, and we get City in the semi-final. We managed to win that 2-1, and then we go to Wembley to face Chelsea in the final, or go to Wembley again, and no one gives us a cat in hell's chance. I specifically remember Chris Sutton, who is a prick. I don't know whether that's just his personality or whether he just does that when he's on camera, but he just comes across as a prick to me. But yeah, he was being interviewed by Robbie from AFTV, and he said, "You ain't got a cat in hell's chance. It's going to be Chelsea." Oh man, yeah, he gave us no chance whatsoever. And I normally find in football, when no one gives you a chance, that's when you're at your best. And I don't even necessarily think, from what I remember of the game, I was moving that day actually. I don't actually think I was moving from a house share to a flat within the area I was living in West London. And I don't remember us playing that well. I think it was very, and this is what I'm saying, I think it was very similar to how Manchester United won the FA Cup yesterday. We managed to win the game 2-1, and it sort of papered over the cracks of what a troubled season, or troubled seasons in the past that we'd had. The only thing that was positive about it was it was Arteta winning his first trophy in his first 5 months in management. Everyone had written him off and said that he puts cones out for Pep and all this kind of stuff, and this guy comes in and he wins a trophy straight away. And the similarities I see there is that Manchester United have had a really, really bad season, and particularly in the league, they've had across the board really, apart from the FA Cup, they've had a really poor season, and they've sort of salvaged some kind of positivity through winning the FA Cup. You could argue, and there's probably more affirmative arguments to say that they've had a better domestic season than us, but I wouldn't go as far as to say they've had a better season than us, because if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd rather be challenging for the league and taking the juggernaut that is Manchester City all the way to the last day, and with a slim but possible chance of winning it, than coming 8th and having to win the FA Cup against said City to get into Europe. But there are people they're entitled to their opinion that will say silverware is what defines a season. Fair enough. To some extent, I do agree with that, but I understand the position we were in, and I understand the position we're in now. We're never guaranteed to win everything. I think also, particularly with the FA Cup, which I'll come on to when I go through the fixtures, I feel like we got the bad luck of the draw, and I don't want to make that as the total excuse, because I think we could have had them dead and buried, Liverpool dead and buried in the first half. But I think being drawn with Premier League rivals, who have been won the league 3-4 years ago, and they've also been pushing City pretty much for the last 4 out of 7 years, or 5 out of 7 years. They've been pushing City. Obviously, it was going to be a tough one, and they took their chances. They won the game 2-0, and that was it. But that's one of the things I would openly say that I have to criticize Arteta and the club for, is that I felt like we've sacrificed the domestic cups too many times now. I mean, last season, knocked out by Brighton in the third round of the Carabao Cup. We lost 3-1 at home to Brighton. In the FA Cup, we got past Oxford United, and then unfortunately, again, luck of the draw, we were drawn with City, which was the first time I saw us for a while play well against City, and we lost 1-0 through a Nathan Ake goal. This season, the same thing happened again. We get drawn with Liverpool in the FA Cup. We scrape past Brentford. Excuse me. We scrape past Brentford in the Carabao Cup third round, and in the round of 16 we get knocked out by West Ham at the London Stadium. I think we lost 3-1. I didn't watch the game. So yeah, that definitely needs to improve. I think, yes, the sort of modern consensus now is that the league and the league, your league and the Champions League are your bread and butter. But I still think you have to try and have that in your back pocket, because yes, much to my dismay, people don't take the FA Cup as seriously as it should be, because it is, if you look at how the Germans treat the Pokal over there, at one point when I was younger, when in the invincible times with Arsenal, the FA Cup was a trophy you want to win, and I think it's one of the oldest competitions in the world. So I think the way people dismiss it is ridiculous to me. I understand why, because we make more money. You make more money if you win the league or the Champions League. And with a Carabao Cup, I've never seen us win a Carabao Cup. The closest I've come is when we played Birmingham in 2011 and we lost 2-1 in extra time. Again, I didn't see that game. It was back in the day when I had text alerts from one of those extortionate sports updates things that you find in the local newspaper. And I remember I was in Portsmouth visiting a friend with some other friends. We were staying over, well, I say friend, but yeah, acquaintance, let's say. He was a friend of a friend. We went to school together, but he was more friends with my other friends than me. And we were in Gosport, across the river from Portsmouth, and we were just about to leave. I think either we were just about to leave or we were about to go out for the day, and it was on the Sunday, I think it was, and I think we were 1-0 up, and I remember seeing two text messages come in. Obafemi, I forget who scored the equaliser for Birmingham, but yeah, Obafemi Martins, 106th minute. Yeah, it was crazy, but I've never really gone back and seen, apart from the DVDs I've got of the season reviews, I've never gone back and watched it. But anyway, this season, so my overall thoughts, I've just sort of touched on the negatives there. I think it's a repeat of last season. In that sense, I think we do need to do better in the domestic cups, and I think there isn't much more room, to sort of coin a phrase from Harry Symeou. There isn't much more room to be lenient when it comes to winning a domestic trophy, at least, because I think it will become very soon. It will become at our detriment to keep sacrificing these trophies, sacrificing the FA Cup and sacrificing the Carabao Cup. Because if we get into a situation like we did this season and we manage to win an FA Cup, we can say we push City all the way, let's say, and then on top of that we've got a trophy to show for that as well. The Champions League I'm not really counting at the moment, because with the format changing next season, fuck knows what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. I haven't even got my head around it properly yet, but it seems like there's going to be 2 extra games in the they're calling it the league phase now. I think it's going to make it harder to win, put it that way, because teams will be playing slightly more games. We'll have to potentially travel further for some of them. If we don't end up in a certain part of the table, we'll have to play another playoff to get to the round of 16. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot harder. So I'm not going to count that for next season. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, we should be getting to the semis next season, or we should be getting to the final, because I want to see how this new format of the Champions League affects teams, or affects us, basically. But yeah, so my overall thoughts of this season, domestic cups aside, I think this has been a much improved season from last season. I think we did well enough to get it to as far as we did last season, but I felt like the inexperience showed and we sort of fell away at the end of the season. A lot of people will say that we lost the league when we gave up that 2-0 lead over Liverpool, which I'd probably agree with. This season was much better, but we just weren't. Again, I think the experience comes into it, but I just don't think we were as good as City. We can't do what City do, where City just win for fun, which I said after the game against Everton. I said I'm worried. I think there's something suspicious about that, because they seem to always get what they want out of every game when it comes to the run-in. Both whether that's the team or whether that's the result, they always seem to get it. They very rarely drop points until they've won the league, pretty much. They always drop points after they've won. Let's say they, like last season when they won the league with like 3 games to go, I think they dropped points in their next 2 after that. So yeah, but I think we've done as well as we could do. We did everything we could. We had an exceptional run-in at the end of the season, beating Spurs, Chelsea, Man United, Wolves away, which is always difficult. Even on the last day, even though it was sort of the writing was on the wall at that point, being that City were 3-1 up, we weren't winning our game, but we still won that game. We went the whole part, apart from the Villa game, we went the whole pretty much the whole of the run-in unbeaten, and I've not seen us do that for a very long time. So that's something to be proud of. I think our home form definitely has to be better. I think that we really do need to be better at home. I think the results we've had at home this season, most of them have been fine, but dropping point, I think it was like 3rd game of the season, dropping points to Fulham when we're 2-1 up with 5 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go, whatever it was, plus stoppage time, losing to West Ham, losing to Villa as we did. Villa did the double over us this season, which obviously got the erections of the Arteta outers up. So there's things like that need to improve. I think the interesting thing about it is that the season before it was our away form that was bad, and now this, to be honest, actually I think that over the last 2 seasons our home form hasn't been great, but our record against the Big Six was really good this season. I think we're unbeaten against the so-called Big Six. I don't think we didn't lose to City, didn't lose to Liverpool, didn't lose to Spurs, didn't lose to Chelsea, didn't lose to Man United. So it's crazy. But I think the transfer window is part of that as well. I know there was a lot of doubts even from myself about Kai Havertz when he came in, but he's definitely had sort of the resurgence in the second half of the season. We've definitely seen sort of what Kai Havertz can do as an Arsenal player. But for me, the standout player of the season is Declan Rice. I think the reason, and you can see him, you can see him here, number 41, big 4-1. He has been the game changer this season. Our defensive record wasn't bad last season, but it could have been better. And I think he is the reason why, has contributed to the reason why we're a lot better at the back. And the fact that he's been sort of morphed into this sort of versatile midfielder, I think has made him a better player as well. In a way, I still can't believe we've got him. I still can't believe that I still can't believe it. I still can't believe that we managed to buy him, essentially. There's a couple of shout outs as well. Obviously Gabriel and Saliba. I think they've been absolutely outstanding this season. They have it's definitely been helpful having Saliba fit all season. I think we've had a benefit of that we haven't had many injuries, and if we have had injuries, they've been for a short amount of time. I think Ben White's been brilliant. David Raya, another one that, even myself, I was scratching my head over. We've got Ramsdale there. Looks like he's going to be off this summer, but he proved that Arteta proved everyone wrong. Raya came in and Raya did the business at the end of the day. Like, it started off quite slowly, but I think part of the reason why we've conceded so little this season is partially because of David Raya. And I think, yeah, we've had the most wins of any Arsenal team. We've outdone the Invincibles. We've conceded the least. So yeah, I think if City weren't there, or if Pep Guardiola weren't there, or whatever you want to call it, or if the alleged corruption wasn't there, maybe we would be champions right now. But it is what it is. Next season, moving on to that, I'm not going to go through all the I'm not going to do what I did last year and go through all the fixtures, because I've just basically done. Oh, before I go on to next season, so my highlight of the year is probably Declan Rice's first debut goal for Arsenal against Manchester United, when we scored to make it 2-1 in the 93rd minute, I think it was. I still watch that back on YouTube now and again, and that was the first. I think that was the first big game that I watched with Peter Drury on Sky's commentary, and yeah, it's just the Rice. That's it just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And then I think going 3-0 up at halftime, or being 3-0 up at halftime against Spurs in the most jammiest fashion, that's definitely a highlight for me. And then the 5-0 over Chelsea, I've never seen us beat Chelsea like that, and it was so sweet to finally get one over. I wanted the 6 just to kind of get revenge for the 6-0 they beat us on Wenger's 1000th game, but I'm so happy about that. I don't know if I had any low points as such. I think the loss to Villa and the loss to Fulham away were probably the points where I was the most upset, and potentially even the loss to Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich was. I thought we could beat them, and I thought we lost it at the Emirates. I think when we took that goal through Saka, when we went 1-0 up, we sort of let them back into the game. We did well to save it through Trossard, who also I have to give a shout out to, because I think he's been one of our best players this season in an attacking sense. But yeah, I feel like he's we threw it away. Well, we put ourselves at a disadvantage by giving Bayern Munich those 2 goals. But I can't get too upset about it, because of the fact it was our first season back in the Champions League for about 6 years. So yeah, but yeah, next season, more of the same. I just want to see us challenge again. I know how difficult it is. I think it would be very naive of me to think that Liverpool won't be there, regardless of the fact that Klopp's left. I think I can imagine there might be a little bit of a new manager. I'm not saying that it was bad with Klopp towards the end, but I find that in the first few games of a new manager, the players get that sort of they get G'd up for it and this kind of stuff. And it would just be interesting to see what Liverpool bring next season. Teams like Chelsea, I was going to have a very different opinion before I recorded this, until I found out that they'd sacked a couple of days ago on, I think it was, when was it? Tuesday. Chelsea sacked Pochettino when it looked like things were starting to turn a corner for them. Exciting young players like Cole Palmer, for example, that I can see he might, burst onto the scene at the Euros in a couple of weeks' time. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, they're linked with Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, who has just gained Ipswich promotion to the Premier League. I almost said the Champions League then. I was saying I think I mentioned him before, my manager, who's an Ipswich Town fan. So obviously he's buzzing. He's over the moon about this. I said to him that I think he needs to stay with Ipswich for at least another season, and then see where we go from there. But yeah, I mean, going into Chelsea, it's a poison chalice, that job. Even if somehow he brings Chelsea success, they'll probably sack him if it's not good enough. And then Man United, from what I saw, I didn't see the first half. of the FA Cup. I only watched the second half, and I'll be completely honest, I didn't feel like they were dominant in the second half. I felt like City were all over them. I just felt like City were poor in the final third. Apart from the Doku goal, they didn't really offer much, but they had most of the ball. They were in Manchester United's half for most of it. So again, it's the same thing with them, with the manager situation. Like, we don't know whether Erik Ten Hag is staying on. I think he should. Because as much as it pains me to say, the fact that he's managed to get them to 3 finals in 2 seasons and win them 2 trophies is a positive, but their league form has been absolutely diabolical. And I know Man United fans will say, and you heard Stefan on this channel when we did the preview for the United game at Old Trafford, you saw him say that, you know, if it wasn't for injuries, we would have been a better team. Maybe 6 or 1, half a dozen in the other. I think with a lot of their attacking players, especially midfield and attacking players, I think they still could have won the games they should have won, like losing 4-0 to Crystal Palace, you know, Manchester United, regardless of whether, you know, Marcus Rashford's not there or whatever, they should still be winning a game like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that we'll definitely be challenging for the league next season, because we have no right to. I think we've just got to do more of the same. You know, I expect players like Thomas Partey, Reiss Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, potentially Emile Smith-Rowe. I've heard in the last couple of days that Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Fabio Vieira. I mean, Partey is the one we have to replace. But I think we need to bring in some new, hungry, sort of young squad players as well, to come in. Because one of the things I'd say, even though our bench has been better this season, I still think that we're quite thin on the ground. And if we lose players like Smith-Rowe, Reiss Nelson, Vieira, Partey, that's 4 players, and Nketiah, that's 5 players gone, and it will leave us thin again. The striker situation, I think that Havertz has done very well in that false 9 position, but I don't think it's something that can last forever. I think we do need someone that's a natural striker, which is why I'm sort of thinking, will Arsenal definitely get rid of somebody like Nketiah? Although I'm getting to that point now, I feel like even though he's done okay. I think it's about time we moved him on. I think Jorginho signing a new contract, year extension, is pretty good. I mean, I think that's what I wanted Xhaka to do at the end of last season, but it is what it is. When Jorginho has come in, he's actually done pretty well. So, yeah, in my opinion, I'm happy that we've got him at least as a squad player, as long as he's happy to be a squad player. Very, very likely that Aaron Ramsdale is going to leave in the summer, or leave this summer. Newcastle have been in the running for him. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. But if he does go again, I think I don't think Karl Heinz ready to become the number 2 for the first team. You can see him there. You can see him there. But I don't think he's necessarily ready to be Raya's backup. And it's clear that Raya's probably going to be signed on a permanent, and he'll probably be our number 1 next season. So yeah. And most importantly, we've just got to try and keep hold of the players that we've got and try and keep them fit. And we go again. We've got 3 new teams in the league. Southampton, who just won the Championship playoff. Congratulations to them. They beat Leeds 1-0. Then we've got Ipswich, who I mentioned. I'm very interested to see how they do. And Leicester City, who are back. So Leicester and Southampton are back after 1 season in the Championship. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, as I say, more of the same. And I'm sure we'll be all right if we continue on this trajectory. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I think I've spoken for far too long. Again, I just want to say thank you for all of you that have joined me this season. I hope you join me again next season. I hope you also join me for the other shows that will be the other parts of my channel that will be back soon, or be more regular soon once I've settled my situation. Yeah, like and subscribe as always. Yeah, I'll see you next Armchair Armory wise, I will see you next season. Good news is that we don't have to play a Community Shield game because United won the FA Cup. So at least we get an extra week before the season starts. But anyway, thank you again, and see you next season. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe.